Oh, he's the shove it man. Oh, he's the shove it man. He's gonna shove it. Yeah, he's gonna shove it. Man.
Alright, it's the Hawk here. Just a quick video to end the week, but I promise to make it up to the Shove It squad next week. Let's catch up with NWA TNA. This is episode 45, and at this point TNA just flat out thinks it's ECW, and nothing will demonstrate that more than this video right here. We start with a scrolling piece of text in front of a space background for some reason. It informs us that 2 tournaments have been mandated for tonight. In the car park, Raven is sat on top of a lorry complaining that he didn't win the world title. He says no one jerks off in Nashville without Jarrett being on their fist. And just like that, a wild slapnuts appears on a lorry.
Jeff Jarrett.
Jarrett beats up Raven and then it ends. Off to the opening match. It's going to be a 4-way elimination match. Jason Cross will face off with Pepsi Punk, who we haven't seen in a while. Kid Romeo, who's also returning, we haven't seen him in ages. And the last man is Paul London, who now has Kid Cash's old music. This opening 4-way is typical old school TNA. You never know quite who's going to turn up. Romeo flips them all off, so they all beat him up. Jason Cross hits a brainbuster, and then there's almost a roll-up. CM Punk gets yanked out of the ring with his head thudding on the floor outside. That takes him out the match for a while. Romeo flies back into the ring with a diving clothesline on Cross. London quickly takes him out with one of the nicest diving cross bodies I think I've ever seen. Kid Romeo doesn't seem to be taking this one seriously as he thrusts at the crowd. Paul London tries to powerbomb him, but Romeo sort of turns it around with a Hurricanrana. Wheelbarrow into a facebuster from Romeo now, but he can only get a 2 count. Punk's woken up and he drags Romeo out the ring and he joins the match. Punk lands at his feet from a German and then he runs off London's back to hit a diving knee. Pepsi Punk flips London, who also lands on his feet. He wants to dive, but Punk shoves him out of the ring. Romeo's back now. Punk takes him out of a turtle whirl. Pepsi Punk catches Jason Cross's kick now, but Cross is able to smack him with his free leg. No time for Cross to celebrate though, because Punk hits a hammerlock DDT. Surprisingly, that's just a 2. Punk and Cross fight on the top rope for a bit, ending with Cross hitting a diving blockbuster. That eliminates CM Punk from the match. Surprised he's gone first. London kicks Cross in the face and Romeo drops him. Surprisingly, that's just a 2. Kid Romeo clotheslines London out of the ring and he stays in control of the match. Kid Romeo suddenly dives out of the ring on London. Cross also likes to fly and he hits a twisting corkscrew out the ring. They quickly come back to the ring and Cross hits a slingshot head scissors for another 2. Romeo shuts him down with a kick, but Paul London stops him from diving and he falls on the top rope, nutsack first. Jason Cross tries to fight him up there, but it's a bad idea because Kid Romeo hits a move that he calls the kiss goodnight. That's a 3 and Jason Cross is now gone. Paul London's back now and he wants to also dive, but like Cross he also falls in his nutsack. Kid Romeo climbs up there and he hits a move that I have no idea what to call. It looked good though. That's just a 2. Both men are looking tired now. Paul London kicks him with an enziguri, but straight away Kid Romeo hits a jawbreaker. He follows that with a torture rack into a net breaker. Romeo has completely lost the plot and he stops his pin cover. Why would he do that? He misses his splash. London drops Romeo on his face and seconds later the match ends with Paul London hitting the shooting star. Paul London is now the number 1 contender to the X Division title. Have to say I was really impressed with Kid Romeo here too. Not a bad way to start the show at all. Mike Tenay and Dom West are trying to explain the 2 new tournaments which are both starting tonight. The first one is called the Asylum Alliance Tournament. It sounds like it's just 8 random teams. It's just a chance for TNA to make enemies tag up together. The other tournament is the Hard 10 Tournament, and let me tell you, this thing sucks Sonny Siaki's ass. It's a hardcore match with a point scoring system. Sounds fun? It's not. In the SEX locker room, it's Sonny, don't look at my ass Siaki. He calls Goldilocks Goofylocks. Siaki says tonight he's in charge as Gilberti isn't here. He tries to speak to SEX about tonight, but they all ignore him. The master of the cab driver Slam David Young is sat in the corner facing the wall. He says he wants to hang out with Desire, which leads Sonny to question what's going on between the 2 of them. Desire denies it. Surely the cab driver isn't with her. Elsewhere backstage, Raven is in a broom closet with Mickey James and Julio De Niro. He's annoyed at them for hanging out at Disco last week. Raven threatens to pour disinfectant down her throat if they ever cross him again. Onto a 2-on-3 handicap tag match now. It's Skipper and Daniels. They take on Slash, and they also take on former Road Rash character Just Incredible and the Amazing Red. What a random team. Loki's apparently injured, which is why he's not here tonight. Red and Skipper start. Neither of them can land a move and they fly everywhere. Red eventually runs off Skipper in the corner and he follows it with a big kick. Daniels charges into the ring, who's taken out straight away with a drop toe hold. The Slash man gets the tag and he bites Daniels. He also gives him the running stomp in the corner. Daniels isn't doing well here. Slash hits him with a final cut. Road Rash Credible has the tag now. He immediately loses his team's advantage and Skipper gets the tag. Credible deals with Skipper easily and he sends Skipper out the ring. He dives to the outside. And this is of course a chance for everyone to hit dive to the outside. Back in the ring, Just Incredible screams TNA and he tags the Slash Man back in. He hits the Eye of the Storm on Daniels. Skip has to break up that pin. The Triple X team finally turn the match around through cheating. The ref's distracted and Skip uses a chair on the Slash Man. Primetime gets Slash back in the ring and he gets a 2 on a side slam. Skipper now with a slam, but it's a bit wackier this time. That's another 2. Triple X hit a double suplex now. Slash eventually turns it around with a kick and then he throws his own partner from the top and Amazing Red lands the splash. He hits the standing shooting star as well, but he can only get a 2. Triple X decide to cheat again. Why not? It worked well for them last time. Daniels crushes Red with a clothesline. Skipper tries to beat Red again with a vicious double underhook suplex. He follows that with a gut wrench suplex. Red's getting destroyed here. Daniels starts whirling Red around with backbreakers. Daniels now drapes him across the rope so Skip can hit him with a diving leg drop. The Slash Man has to break up the pin. Triple X hit another double team move on Red. Luckily the referee was daydreaming and he takes too long to count the pin. Moments later, Triple X try a double flapjack, which Red reverses with a double drop kick. He kicks Skipper again and Just Incredible now has the tag. Skipper tries to dive on him, which doesn't work because Credible hits the super kick. Daniels now gets Credible with a belt shot from the outside. The Slash Man breaks up the pin, just like he has all match. He tries to throw Daniels from the top, but Skipper makes him fall in his nutsack and then he drop kicks him away. Triple X should have it won now with a suplex crossbody combination, but somehow Amazing Red's still kicking out. They throw Red out the ring, but his own partners catch him and they quickly put him on the apron. Red hits a springboard DDT on Elix Skipper and that's the 3. Really cool match with a nice ending. Randomly, Raven storms the ring and he hits a Raven effect on the Amazing Red. I have no idea why he did that, but as established, Raven's a dick. Apparently, Raven's angry with Slapnuts for beating him on top of the lorry earlier. Raven says it's going to be war now. He says he's going to keep beating people up like the not so Amazing Red until Jarrett agrees to another match. Quote the Raisin, nevermore. In a pre-take segment, Goldilocks is in a street looking like a Nightwalker. She's complaining that her phone is broken. She visits a phone store and she keeps complaining that it doesn't work and she wants her money back. The guy refuses to help her for some reason. She keeps swearing at him and calling him a jackass. They blur out the swear words with a comical horn. She says she's going to come for him. She smashes the phone on the floor. What the hell is this and why has it gone on for 5 minutes? And knowing old Nokia, she probably didn't even smash it. She throws the phone in his face. She starts attacking his sign. She keeps screaming, "I'm coming for you." Goldilocks leaves. What the fuck was that? From Goldilocks to more Goldilocks, she's with Beyond Boring Mike Sanders. He brags about beating up Mike Awesome. He says that was nothing and he's beaten up Andre the Giant and The Undertaker before. Sanders is very entertained by the name of the tournament, the Hard 10 tournament. He thinks Goldilocks is talking about his dick. He will fight Brian Lee tonight, who he actually calls the Underfaker. Doesn't Mike Sanders grow on you more and more each week? We now get an attempt at a scoring explanation for the Hardcore 10 tournament. And now Beyond Boring will have his match. Jeff Jarrett's granny is back in the audience and she really wants him to use her chair. Probably a bad thing at her age, she won't be able to stand up for the rest of the show, will she? Sanders will go against the Underfaker. Both guys immediately grab weapons, but Sanders runs away. Lee catches him and hits some clotheslines in the ring. Brian Lee smashes Sanders with a trash can lid to score 1 point. Then he dives on top of Sanders with a board for another point. Another shot and he's 3 up. Lee starts happily grabbing weapons from the fans. Sanders wants a weapon, but the fan won't give it to him. Lee smashes him again for 4-0. Lee now wedges a trash can in the corner, but he can't send Sanders into it. Sanders puts the brakes on and uses his legs to send Lee into it. Moments later, he smacks Lee in the head for another point. Sanders immediately scores another 2 points now. Now Sanders sends Lee out the ring and Sanders dives on him with a lid shot. Mike Sanders sets Lee up on the table. If he sends him through it, he'll score 5 points. Unfortunately, Sanders can't hit his dive as Lee smashes him in the face. It's 5-all. Brian Lee hits him in the head twice. Why doesn't he keep hitting him and this match would be over? Instead, Brian Lee goes and gets a table, which is a lot more hassle, and he puts it in the ring. He hits Sanders again and has Sanders on the table. Lee misses his dive and crashes through the table. Apparently, Sanders wins 5 points because Lee was stupid enough to fall through the table. What a dumb match. It takes all the fun out of hardcore matches with point scoring. And I know I said it earlier, but why not just continuously smack someone with something and then the match will be over in seconds? In the back, Sonny, "Don't look at my ass," Siaki is kicking Raven whilst he's down. Siaki tells Raven he needs to stop hanging around with his crackhead friends and be with SEX instead. Siaki wants his help in his match tonight and slaps Raven on his little cheeks. More Goldilocks again. She's with New Jack and Shark Boy, who are playing a game of Candyland. Jack keeps saying that Sharky has lost and needs to go back to the plum tree. Jack draws a card and he's now happily celebrating that he's got the white woman. Jack and Shark Boy are teaming up tonight in that stupid tournament, but he doesn't want to team up with a fish.
Queen Frosty! I got the white woman!
I didn't volunteer to tag with you in the first place. I don't want to be in the ring with no damn fist and you. I beat blood blowing.
Man, Goldilocks is running everywhere tonight. She's with the Truth now, and he's really unhappy about having to team with one of the Harris brothers. He says they need to go back to the Brotherland, and then they both jump him. New Jack also hits the Truth, so it's not a good night for him so far. Shark Boy, New Jack and the Truth all appear at the top of the ramp. For some reason, the bell rings. So it's supposed to be Shark Boy and New Jack versus the Truth and Don Harris, who's no-showed the match. Shark Boy drop kicks Truth. New Jack follows it with a headbutt. The crowd are going nuts for New Jack. Killings tries a comeback, but he's stopped and he's hit with a New Jack belly to belly. Shark Boy has the tag now. He hits a top rope missile drop kick for a 2 count. Again, Truth tries to fight back, but he gets a Shark Boy net breaker. Sharky tries to dive, but he falls on his nutsack. Ron the Truth hits him with a middle rope sack of shit, the Scott Hall special, and that's a 2 count. New Jack cheats from the outside to keep his team on top. The Harris twins both make an appearance, and they hit a H-bomb on New Jack. They can't hit one to the Truth though, and he takes them out. In all that commotion, Shark Boy tries another dive, but he's caught and power slammed by the Truth, and that's the 3. How the hell was that not a DQ? Both of the twins attack New Jack first. So now the Truth and Don Harris advance in this stupid little tournament. They are tag team partners who don't get on. In a poorly lit corridor somewhere, Raven and the Sandman are talking about their past. Raven asks Sandman if he's ever screwed him before. Sandman responds by saying, yes, you screwed my wife and took my kid. Raven says he's not actually going to help Siaki tonight and he's setting him up. Sandman tells him to drink a beer to prove that they're friends. Raven does it and the Sandman says, alright then, we're on, and he canes Raven in the head to say thank you. I have no idea. In the back, it's Kid Cash and Trinity who are being forced to team up tonight. Cash is very annoyed about this. He moves on to insult Tracy Brooks. He calls her a bull rubber, which makes Goldilocks laugh. There's definitely some truth in that somewhere. He also says he'll take out Trinity if she gets in his way. Eric Watts is here talking about Eric Bischoff again. Goldilocks points out that he's already employed by the WWE. Eric Watts doesn't respond and tells Goldilocks that she left her shoes under his bed. She loses composure and it ends. Out now is the master of the cab driver slam, David Young, with Desire. He'll be tagging up with the bull licker Tracy Brooks. Why do they keep wanting her to fight men? She's not very good. Kid Cash and Desire will be their opponents. They're tag team partners who don't get on. The crowd love Trinity. As expected, the men will start this match. The comedy team aren't really interested in this one. They're busy talking about the pointless World Wrestling All-Stars. Kid Cash gets the first pin with a springboard sunset flip. Cash starts throwing Young everywhere with arm drags. Cash doesn't want to tag in Trinity though, and he rubs his hand through his greasy hair and flips her off. David Young goes to the power game now. It doesn't help him much and Cash does his springing Hurricanrana. He follows it with a tornado DDT. The crowd are dumping all over Cash. David Young has now tagged Tracy in. She slaps Kid Cash, but now she's scared of him. Cash tags Trinity in and starts lecturing her. He throws her straight into Tracy and she hits a cross arm breaker. Tracy shuts her down with a hair drag. She is of course the woman who rubbed chili sauce into Kid Cash's nutsack last week, but no mention of that on the show. Trinity clotheslines her down. And there we go, Trinity does a double springboard arm drag. She also hits a flying head scissors. Cash is in danger of being showed up here. Tracy wisely tags David Young in. Cash kicks him in the nutsack, which enables Trinity to get a 2. David Young is like a ball that sees red. He hits a big spear for a 2. Trinity just won't stay down though, and she jumps on Young and hits a really nice Hurricanrana. Cash has officially showed up, so he takes Trinity out. Cash starts beating up Tracy. He hits a slingshot suplex as the cab driver just watches on. Not sure why he's being a dick to her, they don't have issues. A voice from Doctor Who starts playing over the PA system. It's the mystery luchador on the Titantron. He vows to reveal himself to Cash next week. As Cash turns around, he's smashed by a Tracy chair shot. And there it is, the cab driver slam, the cab driver slam. It's over. Everything's over. This whole video's over. No, it's not really, don't turn it off. David Young is the winner. In the back, D'Lo Brown is dumping on the WWE. He says he can say what he wants on TNA. He vows to go after Jeff Jarrett. AJ Styles tells him to calm down because they've got a match next. Back at the ring, Raven is also calling out Jeff Jarrett. He tells him he's running out of time and then he hits a Raven effect on Jeremy Borash. Can't recall seeing Borash take many moves over the years. This episode's crazy. The crowd are very happy with Raven's work. And by the way, what the hell is Athena wearing? She looks like she fell into a pool of lemon juice. Or piss. You pick. Mike Tenay is screaming for the albino Harry Potter to come out and do the ring announcing in place of JB. He's no longer using blonde just for men. He sounds really nervous. He announces the America's Most Wanted team. They will take on D'Lo Brown and AJ Styles. Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with these 4 together. AJ Styles and the Cowboy will start this one. They have a really sweet trade-off. It's great seeing 2 of my all-time favourites together. These 2 never really had a feud throughout TNA history, did they? Never noticed that before, that just jogged me there. D'Lo and Harris are both in now. Harris takes him out of a flying clothesline. D'Lo retaliates with a suplex into a stunner. He slams Harris and brings AJ in by hip tossing him onto Harris. AJ now hits a beautiful dropkick. Storm makes a blind tag, but it couldn't have been that blind because Styles saw it. Storm finally manages to land a move on Styles. He hits a super kick as AJ tries to dive on him. Chris Harris is back in now with a back body drop. Storm takes some cheap shots from the outside, so I guess AMW are working his heels for the first time ever. James Storm now with a net breaker and a kick which gets him a 2 count. AMW are absolutely destroying Styles with their teamwork. Styles eventually reverses a Harris slam into a pin for a 2 count. D'Lo finally gets the tag after a very long time. He beats them both up on his own. There it is, the shaky head leg drop on Storm. Storm manages to respond with a hangman's noose on D'Lo. Styles breaks up the pin and he crushes Storm with a back suplex. Then it all goes a bit wrong. AJ tries his springboard inverted DDT, but Harris isn't in the correct place. He rushes to get into place and it turns into a spear. Don't think it was meant to be. Storm tries an enziguri, but his kick is thrown into his own partner. It should be over as AJ Styles hits the Styles Clash, but Team Ecw are invading the ring. It's a really stupid ending to this one, I'm afraid, as the referee watches D'Lo Brown get snapped on the ropes by Skipper and he falls into a James Storm pin. A match that wasn't as great as I expected it to be, unfortunately. Why don't these refs care about people interfering from the outside? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They better perk their game up or I'll cut their throat. You know what? I knew something was missing from this show. A pre-recording with Disco Inferno wearing a Manure t-shirt is aired now. He's determined to bring back sports entertainment to wrestling. He says if it was up to him, he'd erase the name NWA from TNA. He starts making fun of Raven for doing so many stupid things despite his high IQ. He says Raven's not as smart as he used to be due to his drug problems. He finishes up by saying that Jeff Jarrett doesn't have as much star power as the gifted Glenn Gilberti. How is he gifted? Okay, just the main event left. It's a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. Raven makes his way out, but don't look at his ass. The real don't look at my ass is here now. Strangely, he doesn't have any of his friends with him. He will take on the Sandman, who is apparently thinking about Raven 24/7. Raven is the referee for this one from the sounds of it. Not sure what kind of ref he's going to be. He hates both of these guys. Sandman's entrance is really, really long. He sprays beer all over some little kids. Can you imagine if that happened in 2022? I miss the times when you didn't have to worry about how people would react to things. The ring is now filled with trash, but Sandman is still drinking. Siaki gets tired of his entrance and he smashes Sandman with a trash can. We're finally in the ring and it doesn't go well for Siaki. He's thrown face first into a fence. Hack grinds Siaki's face on the cage as Raven sits stoned in the corner. Sandman wastes the next 2 minutes collecting steel chairs from the crowd. You'll see why that's a waste later. Siaki's out of it, but he luckily manages to send Sandman into the cage. He hits a contrash toe with the lids. Siaki sets up a lid on the Sandman's nutsack and he hits it with a pole. Hack rolls around on the floor like a dog chasing its tail. More nut-related offense from Siaki now. He moves on to smack Sandman in the face a couple more times. Sandman responds with a chair to the gut. The second shot makes Siaki do a front flip for some reason. Siaki is placed in the Tree of Woe and Sandman drop kicks a trash can and a chair into his face. Siaki now has the kendo stick. He hits Hack not once, not twice, but thrice, and it sure wasn't nice. Sonny wants to make the pin, but Raven just stares into space. Siaki starts yelling at Raven, so Sandman rolls him up, but Raven won't count that pin either. This match could go on for a while at this rate. Siaki hits a low drop kick which sends Sandman straight into the chair. Later, Sandman sets a fence up across the chest. He tries to set Siaki up on it, but the whole structure collapses. Hack says screw it and tries a swanton bomb, but he misses it. Dude, you know, I was watching the NWA TNA thing the other day, man. And this dude, the Sandman, he stole my swanton bomb finishing maneuver, man. But he missed it. Dude, I'm going back to Carolina. And I'm gonna tell my stoner friend Shannon all about you, Sandman. After a couple more weapon shots, Sandman hits the White Russian. Raven decides to start counting the pin, but then he changes his mind. He DDTs both the Sandman and Siaki. ECW and SEX factions both start fighting in the ring and the match is thrown out. Raven storms off to the car park in search of Jeff Jarrett. He's jumped by the amazing Red in street clothes. Red fights him back to the ring. He looks like more of a crackhead than Raven does here, and that's saying something. Red hits him with a big DDT. He wants to dive, but Julio De Niro saves Raven. Red's still fighting back. He hits the Code Red in jeans. Mickey tries to jump Red, but he sweeps her legs out and she crashes headfirst into Julio's nutsack. Red gets Raven set up on the table. The crowd are going berserk for Red. Red hits a swanton bomb to Raven, but the table, it doesn't break. That's a damn shame. You could feel the energy come out of the crowd. It was starting to feel like a real star-making performance for Red. Red just says screw it and does it again, and this time it works. What a random but cool ending seeing Red feud with Raven. I have to point this one out though, but one thing's for sure, TNA is ECW. These tournaments were stupid, but unfortunately this is going to carry on for the next few weeks, and if you don't agree with that, I'll choke you while you sleep.